Hi guys, we're putting our butters to the test today with chocolate chip cookies. We're going to need 1/4 cup or 55 grams of butter, 75 grams of brown sugar, and 30 grams of regular cane sugar. You're going to cream that together just like any other cookie. Add your 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla paste or extract and 1 tablespoon of non-dairy milk, 100 grams of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch. The cornstarch keeps the cookie really nice and chewy and soft. You're going to mix until combined and then add your 80 grams of non-dairy chocolate chips. Cook for about 10 to 15 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit. You're going to make sure that your cookies are at least 2 inches apart. I'm separating mine by type of butter so that we can test them later on. You do not want to overbake them. Cook until they're just nice and golden brown and then let them sit for a couple minutes. Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of my butter episode. I don't know. I tested out the 3 butters that I showed you with baking because I thought, like the taste of butter is interesting and like good if you're just having, it on some bread, but the real test would be cooking or baking something. So I made chocolate chip cookies. I know, I'm so excited. To kind of test out how these 3 different butters would make a difference. So we had the Country Crock, we had the Earth Balance, and we had the Miyokos. And the Miyokos was the best tasting overall. It's just like I could eat this plain, it's totally beautiful and wonderful kind of a butter. And then the Earth Balance and the Country Crock were both very salty, both like very buttery flavored. They were much less delicate and they had definitely like a buffet style like butter packet kind of taste. All good options, all perfectly fine, but really what is going to show us the most results is baking. So on my right I have the Country Crock, and these definitely spread the most. They look like a pretty beautiful chocolate chip cookie, right? They definitely spread the most, and they were the easiest to come off the pan. I don't know if that means anything, but these are my findings. The Miyokos are kind of in the middle. They like spread a good amount, but they still have that little like kind of lump in the middle. And these were the second easiest to get off the pan. And then the Earth Balance didn't spread as much as the other 2. They definitely have more of a mound. This one, yeah, they're definitely more mounded, which doesn't really affect taste, I don't think. It's just that the Country Crock looks like this really beautiful, like nicely shaped, even cookie. And then the Miyokos is kind of in the middle with those like more slanted sides. And then the Country Crock is a bit more mounded. It could have to do with fat content, could have to do with kind of the overall composition of the butter. I think they all look beautiful though, so I'm excited to taste them. I'm gonna go with the Country Crock first because I actually think that it looks the best. That's a damn good cookie. And remember when we talked about how the Earth Balance and the Country Crock both had a lot of salt in them? The salt content for those butters were much higher than the Miyokos. And so the recipe that I chose to make actually didn't have any added salt in it whatsoever. And normally I would add salt no matter what, even if I found a recipe that didn't add salt, just because salt does really amazing things on our tongue when we combine it with sweet things. So, but because the butter had so much salt in it for the 2 of them, I thought it would be a really good way to test how salty the butter actually is once it's baked into something. So I think that's a beautiful cookie. I think the Country Crock works perfectly. And it's not overly salty. It's not. I actually think that if you did add a tiny bit of salt, it wouldn't be the biggest thing. It wouldn't be a big deal. I think it would actually be lovely. So, Country Crock, good job. But that was one of the ones that had palm oil in it. The Miyokos is the only one that didn't. So, That's up to you. Miyokos. Also an excellent cookie. None of these are going to be bad. This is the best part of my job here. So because these are a little bit more mounded in the center, they're going to have a little bit more of that like raw cookie dough flavor because they're thicker. They didn't spread as much. So these have that like really gooiness to them. And this cookie I think could have benefited from some salt because the Miyokos butter had a lot less salt in it than the other two did. But I wanted to make sure that we controlled that no cookie recipe had salt in it. But this is delicious, and I think if maybe it came out of the oven and you sprinkled a little bit of salt on top, like a sea salt or something, that would be beautiful. And you wouldn't need necessarily to put it in the cookie. Phenomenal. No complaints so far. Okay. Yeah, I mean, how can you screw up a chocolate chip cookie, right? I think they're both wonderful. I think the thicker ones have a lot of like doughiness to them, which I like. But I think that the country crock is also a really beautiful chewy cookie. And these just came out of the oven like 15 minutes ago. So I'm really getting the whole experience. Awesome. Okay. Earth balance. See how because it's thicker, it has a bit more of that like doughiness to the center. It's the same thing with the Miyokos too. I'm trying to get some without chips. I definitely have some grease on my hands. So, I mean, it's a cookie, right? I definitely think that the Earth Balance is the most like greasy, which is funny because it didn't really come off the pan very well. They all have really similar color. I tried my best to have like make sure that they baked the same, you know, they were on the same sheet, all of that, same time and everything. But the Earth Balance seems to be a bit more oily. And it has a really good flavor. Would not turn this cookie down ever, but it does have a slightly different flavor than the other two. I'm not really sure what it is, but I don't know. And I wouldn't add any salt to this one. The Earth Balance was one that had the most salt in it, the butter, and I think that it has the right amount of salt content in the whole cookie itself. I don't think it needs any extra sprinkling. I don't think it needs a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. I think that it is perfectly salty the way that it is because the butter is so salty. I would not say no to any of these. They're perfect. So, I mean, there you go. I baked with them, same recipe, you know, consistent things the entire way around. And they came out beautiful. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that would know that that was a vegan cookie. Yeah, overall, I'm really happy with these. I think my favorite would probably have to be the country crock. I'm not going to sit here and eat 3 cookies. That's gross. But I think I like the country crock, or the Miyoko's the best, but I think the country crock is winning it for me. So my favorite butter for spreading on bread and eating right out of the fridge, Miyoko's. I think my favorite to cook with so far is the country crock. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. If you like what you hear, please subscribe down below and make sure to like my videos. I'm so excited to keep doing this and just like giving you recipes and resources and my opinion on all the great products out there today. If you have any questions or you have any ideas for me, please put them in the comments, and I hope to talk to you and see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye for now.